Hi, welcome back everyone. I'm back here today to do another read on Bongola's testimony, and I just wanted to help people understand what's going on in the court, what type of things to keep an eye out for in the future. Because I feel that a lot of people, more than just Sean, will be going into federal courts soon. Because it can't just be one entity. So anyway, I'm going to share this now. Okay. Okay, can you see it? I'm going to just turn my camera just to check everything. I'm sorry if it's a really inconvenient time for anyone to join at this time, like right now, Saturday. I appreciate it. It's not come up again, has it? Right, okay. I appreciate it. It's not come up again, has it? Right, okay. I appreciate it. It's not come up again, has it? Right, okay. There we go. Okay. And you can see clearly on the screen. I just won't be able to see the chat, okay? And you can see clearly on the screen. Can you turn up? Can you turn up? Sorry. Okay. So, at some time working at Diamonds, it's your understanding that Cassie was a music artist, right? Right. Sorry. It's your. I'll say that again because that was echoing again, wasn't it? So at some time working at Diamonds, it's your understanding that Cassie was a music artist, right? Answer is yes. Question. Okay, so you understood that at some point that she was signed to Bad Boy, right? Yes. So working and coming up with a design with Diamond, that was a second venture for Cassie, true? You want me to rephrase that? Yeah. Okay, Cassie was a music artist, true? Yes. Okay, and Cassie was doing a design company or doing a design, trying to do a clothing line, and she was doing that with you, right? Yes. Okay, so you would agree with me, or not? It would be fair to categorize that this as Cassie had two ventures going on at the same time. Yes. Okay, now you and Cassie, you're doing this with Diamond Supply Company, right? The line, the clothing line. And she answers yes. Question. Okay, and your employer at the clothing line, he made you pretty much the head to deal with everything, Cassie. Agree? Yes. Okay, so in order to start getting ideas out of Cassie's head, you need to spend some time with her, true? Right. Okay, and so Miss Ventura would come up to the office, work, and you guys would work on designs, true? Yes. And you would go to Miss Ventura's house to work on designs, true? Yes. All right. I want to talk about the first time that you went to Miss Ventura's apartment, okay? I can't hear you. Answer yes. All right. And so you and Cassie, you were focused on the t-shirt design, right? There was a lot of things, not just t-shirts. You were focused on art shirt design. Yeah, answer was, I mean, there was a shirt. Question, okay, all right. So you recall that the first night that you spent the night at Cassie's house, that she called you and asked you to come over. Do you remember that? Yes. Question, okay, and this was at her home, her Studio City apartment? Answer, yes. Question, okay, and that apartment had a pool, right? True? Yes, it did. Question, okay, and once you arrived at Cassie's house, blank, or apartment, excuse me, you and her decided to do like a photo shoot, right? Yes, it was a house. Question, okay, and you suggested to Cassie that she did a photo shoot in the pool, right? Yeah, it was like the one area that looked like clear. Question, the one area that was clear in the pool, right? Yes. And you asked Cassie to do this photo shoot in just a t-shirt, true? That wasn't the first idea, but yes. Question, Angie. She did it for you, right? Yes. And it was at the moment that you believed you and Cassie were comfortable with each other. Answer, I mean, could you explain that? Question, it's actually your words. Let me ask you, do you recall retelling the government, relying to the government that it was at this point, very moment that I knew me and Kathy was comfortable with each other? I don't recall, but yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. You don't recall, but you would. But would you like me to refresh your memory? That sounds like what you would have said. It sounds around it. And you spent nights with Cassie. That you spent the night with Cassie that night, right? Yes. And after that night, Cassie would often ask you to spend the night at her apartment, right? Answer, it wasn't right away, but eventually it got there, yeah. Question, okay, well, you spent a lot of time at that apartment with Cassie, and then later on, you ended up spending a lot of time at Comstock, right? First the house, then Comstock, yes. Question, yes. That's what I'm asking you. True? Yes. Okay. And it got to a point where you were regular spend the night over there. That's fair to say, right? Answer, yes. And you and Cassie would spend time together doing things. Right, yeah. Like, you would obviously spend time together designing, true? Answer, yes. Question, and you and Cassie would go shopping occasionally? And you and Cassie would go get your nails done occasionally? And you and Cassie would go party? And say, yeah, like go to parties, hang out with, not like go to parties, but like we would hang out with our friends. Okay, do you recall telling the government that you and Cassie would go to a lot of parties? No, I don't recall. Okay, let me see if I can refresh your memory. Miss Westmoreland, can you please pull up Rob just for the parties? Can you pull up 3508004, page 3? Please read the highlighted. Please read the area, and when you are finished, just look up at me. Question, does that refresh your memory? Answer, to some extent. So you and Cassie would go to a lot of parties together then, true? I just feel like it's a little vague. What's a little vague? The word parties. Question, okay, so are you denying that you and Cassie did a lot of partying together? We partied, but going to parties, I didn't go to a lot of parties with her, but we partied. You did or didn't? Which one? Question, okay, let's word it completely. How you're comfortable answering the question. You and Cassie party together, right? Yes, ma'am. Great. Now, you and Cassie would do a lot of rugs together. Yes. Let's talk about the first time that you and Cassie did rugs together. Okay. All right. Do you recall that the same photo shoot, the one in the pool with the t-shirts, and I just asked you about? Yes. And Cassie asked you that day, it was the first night you were spending the night. And Cassie asked if you liked to get high. Do you remember that? Yes, ma'am. And you like to get high. So you told her yes. Yes. And you guys got high together, right? Yes. First night was the first night. Okay, and after getting high together for the first night, you would agree with me that you and Cassie started doing a lot of drugs after that. True? It wasn't right away. Question, okay, at some point you and Cassie would spend most of your time together getting high. Can you agree with that? Yes. Oh my God. Question, okay, I want to discuss the rug usage between you and Cassie in a little bit more detail. Okay. Now you recall the government asking you questions before I came up here, right? Yes. And you listed a few rugs that you and Cassie would do. True? Yes. Okay, I want to ask you about more. All right? Okay. And you and Cassie would do Herb together, right? Yes. Please explain to us how Herb made you feel. Funny, happy, sometimes energetic, sometimes tired, sometimes hungry. Question, thanks. You and Cassie would do edibles together. What are those? Oh, like edible marijuana. Occasionally. Do you do edibles together or not? We did. Okay. How did it make you feel? The same. You and Cassie would do um, devil's dandruff together. Yes. And I think you've already explained to us that devil's dandruff makes you feel like you have confidence. Yes. All right. You and Cassie would have a K together. Yes. And tell us how K made you feel. My opinion, it's like opens your mind. Opens your mind? Yes. You ever been stuck in a K-hole? Yes. All right. You and Cassie would do um, uh, pills together, right? Answer randomly, not a lot. Question, okay. How does um, how does pills make you feel? Bongolan, like to say like loose, uplifted. Question, all right. You and Cassie did Molly together, true? Answer, oh, I don't know. Question, would you like, can I show you something to refresh your memory? Oh, got loads of evidence on her. I mean, I'm sure, but I wasn't like in an everyday thing. All right. I'm not asking if you did it every day. I'm just asking if you and Cassie did Molly together. Yes. All right. And you and Cassie did G together one time, right? One time, yes. Question. Answer. It's hard to recall because I did it once, but I feel like it's kind of like being on alcohol without all the like negative parts of alcohol. Oh, don't know. Okay, do you recall explaining to the government that it makes you feel like you're on alcohol and horny? Answer, yes, ma'am. Question, all right, you and Cassie did acid together. Answer, yes. All right, tell us about that. How did that make you feel? That one I don't remember. It was one time. All right, pear coquette. What's that? I did that one time and I threw up and I didn't like it. Vicodin? Wow. I mean, that one is like what I like a pain reliever. Question. I'm asking if you and Cassie would do Vicodin together. That makes you horny, I believe. Like, no, crazy. Oh, I don't know. If we did that together, weird. You want me to refresh your memory? We did it. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Like, I did it. I don't know about her. Question. Okay, you and Cassie would do Cocoa Puff? Answer, yeah, that's a new one for me. Turn to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury and explain to all of us what Cocoa Puff is. It's when you take a blunt and you open the blunt and you put herb in there and then sprinkle the devil's dandruff in there. No, that's disgusting. Okay, that was one of your favourites, right? Yes. Okay, Cassie liked Cocoa Puffs too, didn't she? From your understanding, yes. Wow. How does Cocoa Puff make you feel? Like, it's like add all the herb feelings and then a little like sharp feeling because of the devil's dandruff. Okay, you would agree with me that you and Cassie had a serious rug problem. Answer, yeah, we had a problem. Question, okay, now you and Cassie would do rugs together before you met Mr. Combs, true? Answer, yes. And you would sell Cassie rugs, true? Yes. You often sold Cassie rugs, yes. Well, let's put a time frame on it. You would agree with me that you sold Cassie rugs on at least a weekly basis. Wow. Answer, yes. Question, you understood or you were aware that Cassie was also on pills? Answer, yes. All right. And you did pills with Cassie, true? No. You've seen Cassie do pills? Yes. Question, all right. Do you recall on an occasion going to get some pills for Cassie? You remember well. Strike that. You recall on an occasion going to get hundreds of pills, oh my God, for Cassie at one time. Do you remember that? Yes. And you remember that because it was so many pills, you were scared, true? Yes. And you gave them to Cassie. They were hers. They were hers. And she was happy with you that you brought them for her, right? I couldn't tell. Okay, now the time that you brought Cassie hundreds of pills, you would agree with me that was early on in your friendship, right? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. Cassie's loose in that way, isn't she? With thinking, trusting people. How long had Cassie been on serious problem drugs? Don't know why I skipped there, but sometimes you would just be nice and be on rugs with Cassie for free. True? Could you rephrase that part? Would you sometimes, hang on, did I miss a bit there? No, I don't. Would you sometimes do rugs with Cassie for free? Meaning she didn't have to buy any rugs from you. You shared, yes. Okay, Ms Bongolan. If you always make Cassie pay for her rugs, you can answer in the negative. You can say no. Could you say that, please? Question, you explained to us that you sold rugs to Cassie. All I asked you is if you ever did rugs with Cassie without making her pay for them. Yes. You often had rug dealers deliver to Cassie. True? Yes. Question, can you please tell us the rug dealers' names that you had delivered to Cassie? I can't remember their names, it's too long time ago. Would documents help refresh your memory? I guess so. Do you remember? Wow, there we go about Ray J. Do you remember drug dealer Ray J? I don't know if that's his name. Well, it's on the government filings, isn't it? Do you remember a rug dealer that, because she's saying, right, do you want me to refresh your memory? So she's got evidence of Ray J being on a phone, selling Cocoa Puffs or whatever, and it's coming anyway. Do you remember a rug dealer that you would send to Cassie, often by the name of Ray J? I don't remember that name. Okay, do you have an idea who Ray J is? I mean, he sounds like that singer, but I don't think it's him. Okay, so let me ask you, at the end of the day, in reference to rugs with Cassie, you would agree with me that you and Cassie did rugs every day. Not every day. Do you remember telling the government, submitting to the government that you and Cassie did rugs every day? Wow. If you don't, I'll refresh your memory. Wow, so she has said that. I don't remember. All right, let's refresh it. With Ms Westmoreland, can you pull up 3508029, page 29? I mean, sorry, to 029, page 3. Second dash, please read that. And once you're done, please look up at me. I'll ask you a question again. Do you and Cassie do rugs every day? Again, I don't know. I don't think we did rugs every day. Okay, did you tell the government you did rugs every day? I don't remember if I told that to the government. Okay, do you understand that when you sit down and you speak with the government, that they're taking notes? I understand that. Okay, all right. So what's your answer? That you don't recall saying that, or you didn't say that? I don't remember. Okay, so besides you and Cassie getting high daily and weekly, and you and Cassie, you guys were still trying to put out that clothing line together, right? Miss Samars, objection, the court, that's sustained. You can rephrase. Miss Westmoreland, sure. All right, you and Cassie were trying to put out a clothing line together, true? Answer, I don't know which clothing line. Oh. I'm talking about the t-shirt clothing line with Diamond and Supply Company. Yes. Okay, and you would agree with me that over a 2-year period, you and Cassie finally did get a few clothing lines or t-shirts out there, true? Yes, we got some collections out. All right, and you would also agree with me that those lines didn't work out right. Sounds like she's talking about rugs. They didn't work out for like internal diamond reasons. Internal diamond reasons. I understand. I'm asking you, and we'll talk about that. But you agree with me that they did not work out, true? Yes. And you agree with me that they didn't work out because you and Cassie were competing against people like Beyonce Answer yes. And you were competing against people like Rihanna? Yes. And you would also agree with me that you and Cassie were experiencing a lot of difficulties with Nicky. Who's Nicky? Answer, I don't think it was Nicky himself that was the problem. Okay, you don't think it was Nicky himself that was the problem. Explain. Well, it was a skate company and we were designing great women clothing. But be frank, and it was a bunch of skater guys holding up women's clothing, so it wasn't working out internally. Thank you for explaining that. So you would agree with me that who did not, sorry, so you would agree with me that who did not hold you back is Mr. Combs, right? That it was the skater mentality at the company. True? Mr. Miser, objection. Westmoreland, I'll rephrase. You explained to us that the company clothing line didn't work out. True, yes. Little dig of half of that. And you had fierce competitors like Beyonce and Rihanna. True, yes. And you had some issues with Diamond Company Supply because they weren't seeing your vision. True? No. Okay. You had issues with Diamonds and Company because they were a bunch of skateboarders and you and Cassie was making great female design clothing and they just couldn't see it. True. I believe they believed in the vision and saw it. It's just not that I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't work out. Yes, ma'am. Okay, but it didn't work out with you and Cassie and the Diamond Supply Company, though. True? Miss Miser, objection. It's overruled. Could you re-say the question, please? It didn't work out because of the issues with Diamond Supply Company, whatever the issues were. True? Yes. And you agree that while you were trying to do this business, while you and Cassie were trying to do this business, that you guys were having lots of other extracurricular activities, right? Could you explain, please? Getting high. Could you rephrase the whole question, please? It's hard to be pretty productive in business, getting high every day. Do you agree with me? Mr. Miser, objection. The court sustained. All right. Let me ask you this. You and Cassie, you would agree with me that you and Cassie had your own relationship, right? Like a friendship. Yes. And you believed you were one of Cassie's best friends. True? We were close. Okay. You would agree with me that Cassie made you feel like that you and her were really close. Yes. Okay. And you would agree with me that you explained to us that you didn't even meet Mr. Combs for at least a year later after you first started hanging with Cassie. True? True. Okay. Question. Okay. And although you didn't meet Mr. Combs for a solid year, you and Cassie still hung out pretty often. True? Answer yes. Okay. All right. I want to shift you actually meeting Mr. Combs. Okay. Okay. All right. You met Mr. Combs sometime in 2016. True? I don't remember. but probably yes, around there. Okay. And the first time that you met Mr. Combs at a dinner at his house, answer yes. And you would agree with me that came there with Cassie, right? Yes. And you would agree with me that Mr. Combs was very standoffish with you. True? Yeah. And you were there, but you were there as Cassie's friend, right? Yes. Okay. And in fact, you just explained to us that you're still friends with Cassie, right? Yes. I want to ask you about a few of your other friends real quick. You're still friends with Deontay Nash? Yes. And you speak to Deontay Nash? Yes. When's the last time you spoke to him? He texted me today. But I didn't answer. Freaking out. Okay. What did he say? I think he was asking what my girl's number was. Okay, and before today's text, when is the last time that you spoke to Mr. Nash? I want to say after he got off the stand. Okay. We're all pretty close. All pretty close. That raises some concern with the whole conflict thing, it's just you're basing all this off their testimony as well. All right, and you guys didn't talk about and before today's text, when is the last time you spoke to Mr. Nash? I want to say after he got off the stand, okay. Like not directly after, but around then. All right. And you guys didn't talk about his testimony? No. Just avoided that subject. Yeah, we knew you know what was going on. All right, you don't need to talk about it. You know what's going on. Mr. Miser, objection sustained. Or question, all right, well, let me ask you this. You've spoken to Cassie during this trial, right? True? Answer, I haven't talked to her in a couple of weeks. Question, okay, so you have you spoke to Cassie since the trial started? She did text me today, but I did not answer. Okay, didn't answer Cassie either. No. What about before today? I want to know if you spoke to Miss Ventura while we've been on trial. Yes. Okay, all right. And your testimony is that you and Miss Ventura didn't speak about the testimony either, right? I just asked how she was doing and sent her a bathtub she might like. No, is he? Harriet's not in, sweetie. Harry's not home today, love. Oh, sorry, hon. Oh, joy. Don't answer the door without asking me first, hon, please. Sorry about that. Don't let me daughter answer the door. Okay, all right. Let's talk about your civil lawsuit. Hang on, what are we on? Oh yeah, okay. All right. Let's talk about your civil lawsuit. Harriet's at Dad's, isn't she, hon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in 2028 or 23, so late 2023, you spoke to Miss Ventura, and she told you she was about to file a lawsuit against Mr. Combs. True? Yes. Okay. And you are aware. She did in fact file that lawsuit. True? Yes. And you're aware because you read the lawsuit. True? Answer, yes, I did. And after you read Cassie's lawsuit, you spoke to Cassie. True? Yes, I did. And you spoke to Cassie about her lawsuit. True? Yes, I did. Question, and after you spoke to Cassie about her lawsuit, you went out and you hired yourself a lawyer. True? Yes, yes. And you hired Tyrone Blackburn, right? True? All right, that's Diddy's lawyer, isn't it? Yes. Question, okay. And then you already explained that after Tyrone then hires another lawyer, right? You hire another lawyer, right? Yes. Okay. And the purpose of you hiring Tyrone Blackburn and the next lawyer was to sue Mr. Combs, true? It was to seek justice. It was what? To seek justice. And your definition of seeking justice was to sue Mr. Combs, right? Could you explain that further? Question, you hired lawyers to sue Mr. Combs, isn't that true? Answer, I did hire a lawyer. Okay. To sue Mr. Combs. To sue Mr. Combs. Okay. And like Cassie did, true? For different intentions, I would say, but yes. Okay, we'll get to that. Now, in order for these lawyers to represent you, you had to speak to them, right? Yes. Okay. And without telling me, right, telling me what you told them, you had to explain to them, quiet baby girl.
Harriet's coming in soon.
Harriet will be home soon. She will.
No.
Oh, and you're watching My Little Ponies. Oh, good girl. I don't know what else. Well, you didn't want to do much, did you, darling? But Ms Morland. Okay, I'll try the question. At a high level, you had to explain to these civil lawyers what your issue was. True? Mr. Miser, objection. Sustained. Westmoreland, okay. In order to hire civil lawyers, you had to talk to them, right? Yes. And these lawyers became your representatives. You hired them, true? Yes. And you swear that they acted on your behalf, true? Yes. And your first lawyer, Tyrone, he was present at your first interview with the government, true? Yes. Now, on direct, you were asked about the first interview. Do you remember that line of questioning? I remember some, yes. Question, yes. And you explained to us that you thought it was a meet and greet, right? Yes. And that you didn't know it was what it turned out to be, right? Yes. But when you sat down with the government, they asked you what happened if anything if it's true. Answer was yes. And you did a full interview with them, right? I did. And although you didn't know you were about to do an interview, you still told them whatever. You answered their questions. True? Yes. And you don't have to practice the truth, right? No. Question. Okay, so I want to make sure that we understand the timeline. November 2023, you're aware that Ms Ventura filed a lawsuit, true? Yes. Wow. A lot to take in, because when I heard about the pills and things like that, I was surprised that, but when I heard that Cassie was on withdrawal medication, it made me wonder, is it the addiction that she got through? Did she get through with Diddy? Was it something, her own thing to do with whatever it was, right? She didn't deserve how she was treated after all. Or it might add weight to the defence though, because it seems like she's only just now off these medications that she was taking. She was taking Vicodin and things like that. They're not drugs to mess about with. Oxycodone, all these types of drugs. So she was quite messy as a person, for her to get in that hooked on the drugs. I had a family member who was hooked on drugs and hooked on heroin, and it takes their integrity away. I'm not gonna lie, it does. Their idea is their next fix. No matter how repaired you get, right? Is that temptation will always be there. And that's what I worry about with people who've been through that, slipping back into that, if they so easily got into it. But you see what Cassie went through was abuse, and she didn't feel safe, and she had to, maybe these type of recreations was the only way she could get sort of herself back, if you know what I mean. Like, there's one of the victims that asked to have ecstasy and things like that. But the thing is with that, she's not coming across like a victim, because she's living that lifestyle. She's done it with other rappers, if she's done it with other rappers, she's gonna do it with Diddy, it is what he's living. It's a lifestyle choice, and really, I don't think Cassie was down for the ride as being a side chick. I don't think it was that easy. I think he preyed on a naivety, a gullibleness. Like some of these workers were getting 50k, and they were doing all the work. He was getting the most he could out of these people. I don't know if it's shaming this person and taking. I mean, there's a lot of people who behave like that, who swing and are a part of the cuckoldry thing, normally like the humiliation of it, but with Diddy, I think I think he's doing the humiliation. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to have to cover the camera with my face on so I can have a cigarette so I can continue to read more for you. Okay. I'm just going to heat my coffee up, guys, and cover my camera. I'm going to cover it with my little razor paper. The only book I've got around now. Not good. You still see me, but I'll be back in a minute. I just need to heat my coffee up, and I'll be back now. I'm going to try and read as much as I can, but I don't think I've signed a lot of it, but I don't know. I just don't want other YouTubers taking something I've paid for, you know. I'll lose this.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Lisa. Oh, so darling, yeah. Oh, how are you? Are you okay? Yeah. Oh, when she gets home, I'll ask her to call round. Alright, love, yeah. Oh, me? No, I don't, love. Oh, I don't know, you don't, love. Of course you can, Ada. Oh, I don't either, no. I don't, babe. I don't. Come round later, or I'll ask her to post it for you. I've got to go, love, oh, Izzy's upset. All right, I've got to sit. Oh, okay, love, I'll describe it to her. Oh, take care, honey bunch. You getting stressed because the girl's nothing? What's the matter, love?
I know. I think because our Harriet said she'd be out this weekend, and I'm not going to be long, hon. Don't worry. I'm going to do what I've mentioned before. Don't think I've forgotten. Right, crisis over. So the last question, in November 2023, you were aware that Ms Ventura filed a lawsuit? Yes. And in November in 2023, you were actually working for Cassie during that time, weren't you? Yeah. For like a month or two. All right. So she was working for Cassie during the time she filed for the lawsuit. Question, yeah, November 2023 and December 2024, true? Yes. And you and Cassie had hooked up back together. Wow. Yeah, she wanted to do music or something. All right, and you and Cassie hooked back up, true? Mr. Myers, objection, that's overruled. Answer, could you relay the question? You and Cassie got back together in November and December 2023. Yes. Mr. Miser, objection. Court, that's overruled. Sir Miser, Your Honour, can we have a sidebar, please? The court, you may. And this is what the sidebar is. The court, Mr. Miser, Miss Wondermoreland has been implying improper sexual innuendo between Ms Bongolan and Ms Ventura throughout this testimony, including based on their first photo shoot, that Ms Bongolan would sleep over at Ventura's house a lot. And there were several questions about that in the beginning of her testimony. Here, she continues to use the words hook up when she could ask if they, which is why I objected. Your Honour, and they got back together, which is again why I object. I think it's perfectly proper to ask Ms Bongolan if they were working together or if they were talking. But I think Ms Westmoreland should stay away from that sexual innuendo. Miss Westmoreland, it's definitely not what an innuendo for sexual contact at all. If you don't want me to use the word hook up, I'll take no issue with it. But I wasn't trying to infer anything. The course, I didn't understand you to be making any actual innuendo. However, let's see if we can reformulate some of this questioning. Miss Westmoreland, sure, the court, let's make it a little better, easier. The court, so there's no misimpressions to what you're asking. Miss Westmoreland, Your Honour, do you want to know that a lot of times, a lot of the phrases I'm using is her words? And I'm making sure I'm using her words, so she has to answer the question and in the affirmative. The course, we don't need to do that. Miss Westmoreland, okay, the court, ask them in a way there won't be any misimpression by the jury as to what you're asking. If you have an exhibit that you're using and it uses particular language, that's obviously fair game. But other than that, let's try to. The only other thing I will say is we have a very soft spoken witness. If at any time you would like the witness to speak up or anything like that, just ask me, and that way I can provide appropriate instruction to the witness. Miss Westmoreland, thank you, I appreciate it, because I'm having trouble hearing the court, and what I want to avoid is the questioning attorney giving any kind of instruction to the witness. And because I would like it just to be formal through me. Miss Westmoreland, thank you. The court, okay. Miss Westmoreland, thank you. So, you, Harriet, Izzy, can you be a little bit quiet with the singing? Okay. So you and Cassie in November and December 2023. Okay. At this point, you and Cassie are talking to each other again. True? Yes. Because you and her are working with each other again, right? Yes. And you and Cassie, you're discussing lawsuits. True? Not while we're working. Okay. So you remember, I just asked you a little bit ago if Cassie called you at the end of 2023, right? Before filing her lawsuit, and you said yes. Yes. All right. And you are aware that Cassie filed her lawsuit November 2023. True? Yes. All right, and you are aware Cassie filed a lawsuit, working with Cassie for 2000. Okay, hang on. And you spoke to Cassie right before she filed her lawsuit and right after she filed her lawsuit, true? Yes. When you and Cassie were speaking, you were speaking about her lawsuit, true? And you and her, true? She says true, right. And you and her were discussing the claims, past potential claims against Mr. Combs, true? Could you explain that more? Question. You and Ventura was discussing what you guys can maybe sue blank, that you and Ventura could sue Mr. Combs. I kept my matters very private. So you didn't tell Miss Ventura why? You didn't tell Miss Ventura you were going to sue Mr. Combs? Is that what you're saying? Answer, I didn't tell any of my friends. Okay, let's talk about this. When you and Cassie spoke before she filed her lawsuit, did you and Cassie speak anything in reference to some balcony incident? She had asked for my permission to put my name in her lawsuit. And you said no. And I said no. All right. And then Cassie filed a suit, right? Yes. And then right after Cassie filed the suit, you filed a suit. True? Not right after. Okay, you hired a lawyer in January. True? True. But isn't it true that before you filed your suit, you and Cassie spoke right there at the end of the year? That's where I am. Okay. Yes. And you guys talked about this balcony story, true? Yes. Isabella! You stay there, you. And Cassie, I said, hey, this happened at a hotel, right? What? And she didn't say it like that. Hang on, I'll say that again. And you guys talked about this balcony story, true? Yes. And Cassie said, hey, this happened at the hotel, right? Answer, she didn't say it like that. Question, right. She said something about the hotel, true? Yes. And you said no. What about your apartment? Wow. Miss Samaza, objection, the court. Hold on. Miss Westmoreland, I think you need to rephrase that question. Miss Westmoreland, yes. The court, re-ask it. Miss Westmoreland, yes. You mentioned blank. You told Cassie, you and Cassie discussed locations of where you would say this happened. True? Objection. That's overruled. Yes, sorry. Wow, she's admitting it. Question, Cassie was saying hotel. You were saying apartment. Has a balcony. True? Wow, okay. I didn't say it like that, she answers. Okay, Cassie said hotel and you said apartment. Yes? And Cassie's apartment had a balcony. True? Yes. And you and Cassie were discussing potential dates. True? I'd say yes, but just the way you say it. Question, well, you said you suggested one date. She suggested another. True? Yeah. Miss Samaza, objection, court ground. Miss Samaza, I don't know what she means. Form, Your Honour. That's overruled. True? She asks again. Re-say that question again. Oh my God, she's so thick. Question, you asked it already. You answered it already. All right, you and Cassie were discussing who you would say was there. Objection, overruled. Yes. She answers as well, yes. Cassie suggested Tiffany read, true? Yes. You said no, your ex-girlfriend. True? True. You and Cassie discussed on whether you would say whether Cassie saw it or not. True? I don't remember. Oh my God. Question, you don't remember? Answer, no. All right, Cassie told you she never saw you get hung over the balcony. True? She did tell me she saw me. She told you she did? Yes, ma'am. Okay, didn't you tell the government that you had to tell Cassie that she saw you over the balcony? This is why I take trouble with what was done and said, you know? Okay. I don't remember what I told them. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Miss Westmoreland, Your Honour, I'm sorry. I can't hear the witness. I don't remember what I said. And that means you're a liar. Okay, well, I'll refresh your memory. But let me ask you, did you and Cassie have a conversation? And Cassie told you she did not see you get hung over the balcony. I don't remember. Miss Westmoreland, let's pull up 350-8021. Mr. Rob, please go to page 9 for us. This is just for the parties and the witness, please. Right here, make it big for the witness, please. Please read this page, and when you're finished, just look at me. All right, the call. Miss Westmoreland, can you also put up the page 8? Sure. Can you please put up page 8? You done? Yes. Miss Westmoreland, Mr. Rob, you can take it down. Question, you told Miss Ventura she was there. She was there. But you told her that she didn't recall that, true? Mr. Miser, objection. Court, that's sustained. Question, and you and Cassie had all of these conversations in November and December of 2023, true? We had conversations. The conversations I just asked you about. I don't know if they were all the conversations you were asking about. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Oh, I'm going to have to leave it here. I don't know if it was all the conversations you were asking about. Okay, let's ask. Oh my goodness, I can't read. Okay, well, let me ask you this. You and Miss Ventura had conversation in reference to dates, potential locations, individuals there, and you saw or did not see what all in the months of November and December, true? Mr. Myers, objection, the court on form grounds or something else? Yes, Your Honour. The court, Miss Westmoreland, can you rephrase the question? Miss Westmoreland, absolutely, Judge. You and Cassie had a conversation in reference to the questions that I just asked you about. And you had these conversations in November and December 2023. True. Ms Samai's objection overruled. I don't know if I had all the conversations you were asking for. All right, let me see if I can refresh your memory a little bit. Okay? Miss Samai's objection. The cause, that's sustained. Question, all right, may I show you something to refresh your memory? All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys, for today. Thanks for watching and keeping up to date with it. I will be back tomorrow to do more. I hope everyone's been watching. Take care for now. Bye-bye.